Binge watch and learn on TRS Clips. That question I was asking about the chakras and the planes, I was actually getting to another question, but the chakras and the planes thing was just a small context.
So we called all of the schools of philosophy. Of those schools of philosophy, yoga is where chakras are mostly dealt with. Okay.
The question I was going for was actually about those planes of existence, which I believe I've spoken to Gauranga Das Prabhu about as well. And each of those planes is governed by a different deity. Like the plane from which you get your root chakra is governed by Ganpati. And then I don't remember the exact allocation of different deities, but each chakra is governed by a different deity. Okay. The reason I'm even bringing this up, one, is that it's a cool kind of thing to bring up. The second reason is through Rajarshi Nandi and through all the Tantra conversations, I've realized how alive the deities are. How they have their own thought. I would go as far as saying intention or wishes. They have their own sense of consciousness.
Okay.
So my question is, take all these deities, Ganpati, Vishnu, Shiva, Kartikeya, you name it. They're all definitely conscious of the fact that all these Sanatani people in this landmass that we call India are currently waking up to Sanatan Dharma again. The thing is, we are possibly waking up to it because of our life experiences. You were born in the family, you were born, I was born in the family, I am born, you've had childhood experiences, I've had childhood experiences. Now at age 35 and 30, we are together discussing our own experiences. But those experiences were also put into our life by the deities. That's why we are who we are. So, parallelly with India rising as an economy, I know that the deities have had a role to play there as well. Right? Because as Bhagavan says, not even a leaf that falls is without my intention. So everything that's happening in our material plane right now is happening because something else is happening on all those spiritual planes. Have you ever wondered about what these deities are thinking about where India is right now?
Now, deities are not just multiple independent beings that are looking down on us. There are some philosophical schools that believe that. But what I have studied as an Advaitic Vedantin is that the truth is one. In fact, not only is the truth one, the truth alone is that manifests as everything. So and that truth is known as Brahman. That Brahman resides in all of our hearts and gives us life. And in our hearts, it is known as Paramatma. And based on our requirements, our temperament, our tendencies, manifests as a personal form of divinity that is known as Bhagavan. So what Brahman manifesting for me as Ganesha may manifest for you as Sri Krishna. That doesn't mean that Sri Krishna and Ganesha are different, are separate. So there is a divine play at work that is always bringing disorder to order. That is always bringing agyanata to gyan. And sometimes that is done through the process of enlightenment. Sometimes that is done through the process of danda, punishment. And these cycles continue. So we are now in a process, I feel, of great change. And we can see it in our life experiences, in the world around us. There's so much that is changing in a matter of months that would have taken decades to change in previous ages. So, as that change continues, there is divine energy that powers it. Those who are able to tap into that divine energy then are potentially the drivers of the change. But equally, there is an energy that takes us towards chaos. And there are a lot of people who prefer chaos to order, who benefit from chaos. There are players in financial markets that like crashes because they make money when crashes occur. And so this has always been a game from Satyug till now.
For the sake of understanding better, I'm going to reference a historical character. I'm going to talk about Duryodhan. If Duryodhan was an actual human, which I believe he was.
Yes.
If the deities were creating the path for the Pandavas,
Yeah.
specifically Shri Krishna,
Ji.
if he was guiding the Pandavas, what higher energy was Duryodhan being guided by? And another way of asking this question is, so say for TRS,
Mm-hmm.
when I'm trying to grow it,
Yeah.
I know the message and the intention I'm trying to put out.
Yeah.
I'm trying to popularize Sanatani thought in many ways. Because I feel generations of Indians before me were not able to,
Yeah.
even if they wanted to. Now I have technology, I will amplify Sanatani philosophy
Yes.
because it's helped me.
Yeah.
I also face opposition.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you about the opposition, I'm asking about the energy that is making the opposition become my opposition.
Yeah. We'll do it. I'll answer it in two halves. We'll do the Duryodhan example specifically because this question comes up a lot. That's a really good question. Then we'll talk about TRS and where we are right now.
I've also spoken about this earlier on the show. This is what a lot of people call Satan
Satan.
or
Yeah.
evil in the world.
Yeah.
That where there is light, there is also darkness.
Yeah.
And where light is trying to grow, darkness will try to pull it down.
Yeah. And the Sanskrit word for that, or the phrase for that is Shreyans Karmat Vigna Bahuda. There are many barriers, vignas in good work. Okay. Now, if we look at Duryodhan and Arjun at their core were enlivened by the same divine principle, Paramatma. They were the same divinity resided in Duryodhan as it did in Arjun. But Duryodhan was a collection of karma that had come down to him as his prarabdha and were reinforced by the choices that he made in life that took him down that path. The divinity, divine Bhagavan, deities, nobody guided him to that path. In fact, what facilities Arjun had, same facilities Duryodhan also had. They had the same guru, Dronacharya. They had the same Bhishma Pitamaha. Same. Bhishma Pitamaha was an enlightened master. He gave us Vishnu Sahasranam. So the same access to Bhagavan Shri Krishna. Parshuram was also there in Bharat at that time. And they also had good relationships with Balabhadra. And so, in the same circumstances, two people end up in two different ways. Why? Because of their choices. And because people of influence make poor choices that have multiplied impacts on society, the divine needs to manifest and set that right. Not just Duryodhan, the same thing happened with Ravan. The same thing happened n number of times with Dashavatars. And there are other avatars of other deities also that have ended up performing the same purpose, fulfilling the same purpose. So the core is divine. But what causes people to act that way is not the deities trying to engineer it like puppet masters, but the choices that those beings are making. Now, if you come to the current scenario, we have not just been born in this age. We have been born multiple times in previous ages, in different genders, in different countries, in different cultures. But what has got us to this point is some desire in our hearts, as you say, to spread the message of Sanatan. And why to spread the Sanatan message? Why? Because it serves humanity. Not because I'm flogging a certain brand of philosophy. Yeah. Because truly it has uplifted me. It has uplifted everyone I've seen around. And there's evidence to say that it has uplifted generations of people before. So that desire has always been there. It has grown in our heart. And today, that desire has fructified into a mechanism that allows us to fulfill that purpose. And if you see, the most enduring work is those who act without ego. Some of the most enduring work in humanity was created when there were no podcasts, there was no communication. Christ, for example, was nailed to the cross. And on that cross, he was able to say, Forgive them, Lord, for they know not what they do. Do you think he was identified with that body that was nailed? And because of that lack of identification, his thought process continues for thousands of years. Krishna, when he gave the Bhagavad Gita, did not sign it off, made by Krishna. It was given fully identified with the divine, not with this physical manifestation at all. And that message of the Bhagavad Gita resonates till today. Not just the message, but even the activities. And so, if you look at the journey of TRS, of your specific journey, been doing it for 8-9 years now. 9 years later, yes, there are many ways you are the same person, but in many fundamental ways, you are no longer the man that started this journey. And because you have been willing to let go of that version of you that no longer serves your purpose in life, not only have you been able to grow inside, but you have been able to grow outside. And not only have you been able to grow outside, but you've been able to give other people space and a platform for their own personal growth.
What is the enemy in this process?
The enemy is ego. And it's a very hard thing to try and understand, because we live in a world and our brains are constructed in such a way that we need to see opposites. We need to see X versus Y. But if you go into depth into some of our scriptures, you realize that what covered someone's access to the divine was not that someone was an entirely dark-minded, evil person, but that they had allowed their own inner divinity to be shrouded by their ego. If you take the example, now we spoke about Duryodhan and Arjun having the same access. Another example is Ram and Ravan. Now, I'm not one of these people who says that Ravan was a good person that has been misunderstood. No. Ravan is the anti-hero of this story. But it's not as if Ravan was wholly evil in the way that we have been accustomed to hearing in the English language, or in that sort of thought that we inherited from years of colonization. But we have to recognize that Ravan was an accomplished sadhaka. He had achieved lots of siddhis with his sadhana. He had achieved darshan of his divine Lord. Imagine, we are not in that place where we can do that. He had achieved a lot. He had done years and years and years, eons of penance to achieve some of the strength that he had. But what was his downfall? His downfall was his ego. And when we say ego, in its English word context, it comes up as pride. Yes, pride is part of it. That's abhiman. But in Sanskrit, the word itself gives us the meaning. Ahankar is the word for ego. It means what? Aham karta. I am the doer. The idea that everything that is, even my sadhana, has been achieved by me, not because of the grace of the divine. This food that I have had has been, you sowed the seeds, you waited 6 months for it to sprout, you collected it, you cleaned it, you cooked it. No, it's come to you. Clothes have been bought by me. You harvested the cotton. You were the one who created it into cloth. You were the one who stitched it, packed it. No, you're probably not even the one who washed it. So this idea that aham karta, this whole creation has been created by me, is what leads to someone's downfall. Now, how do we get rid of ahankar? One very simple way, and I don't even say this is a starting point, because many accomplished meditators and sadhakas also benefit by this, is to listen to kathas. Because then we get inspiration, not just on how great Bhagavan is, but also the journey as seekers. The start of this conversation, we spoke about how the process of meditation gives us poison, releases the poison, but we also learned what to do with it. That is Where? That is in the Katha. We learned how good Sanga can be transformative and take us from a demonic state to a divine state. Where is that? That is in the Katha. Now in Diwali, there is one of the days is called Naraka Chaturdashi, where Narakasur was killed by Bhagwan Shri Krishna and Satyabhama. Now, Naraka was the child not of Asuras. He was the child of Bhagwan Shri Vishnu and Bhudevi. And Vishnu was in a Varaha Rupa. He conceived with Bhudevi this child that was called Naraka. Naraka, despite his divine parentage, hung out with Asuras, Banasur and Mura. And as a result of that, from divine went to Danav. At the moment of his killing, and there's a whole story around what happened, why, this, that. At the moment of his death at the hands of Bhagwan Shri Krishna, he looked at Bhagwan and realized that this is the supreme divinity. And I'm not going to say all of his sins got washed away. No, he had to pay. But what he said is, may this day of my death be the day that people not only light lamps, but burst crackers so that they are woken up from their complacency. That there is a divine principle at play. And that divine principle can consume us at any time. So let us live a life in recognition of that. That is why we burst crackers, not because someone has like, maja aa gaya, chalo phatake lagate hai. There is a divine principle behind this. And kathas teach us. So there's an element of inner cleansing that happens through listening to kathas that will lead us to loosen our association with their ego. Once that happens, there are many processes.
So TRS Clips has all sorts of videos and all sorts of playlists. Make sure you explore the channel by subscribing and heading to our homepage and reading through all the playlists.